Paul Kenny, you're back with us again. And the reason you're back with us again is the last time you were here, which was in August, we got a huge response to anything pharmacy. You're an independent pharmacist. You're in the Tramore area. And if you want to talk to Paul, if you want any advice on different things we're going to talk about, and anything that your pharmacist, you think your pharmacist can do for you, if you want advice on the drug scheme as well, on maximising the allowance for families, or we're going to talk about the new payments that have to be made for people with medical cards as well, you can dial 1857 15900. You can text 51551 or Mooney at RTE.ie. There's somebody answering the phones there. They look after you, and we'll get back and we'll have you on the air to talk to Paul as well. But Paul, before we go on, you've got some good news and some bad news for the price of drugs. Let's start with the good news.
The good news, from the 1st of October, the price of a large number of medicines is actually coming down, which people are delighted to hear. You don't hear it near often enough in pharmacies, but the price of drugs are coming down. Of a certain list of drugs, now there's quite a number of them, and as of yet, despite it happening supposedly in 8 or 9 days, we don't have the definitive list. It's the HSE will be telling us that. It'll be on their website. We actually don't know what the list is, but in the main it will be generic medicines that are coming down in price. So we very much look forward to that.
So we talked about generic medicines before, so can you just explain quickly what a generic medicine is?
Quickly, what a generic medicine is a drug manufacturer invents a drug, patents it, and it has a sole right to distribute and manufacture that drug. After a certain amount of time it comes off patent, and other companies jump on the bandwagon, manufacture it, copy it and sell it cheaper, and they are generic medicines. So they are it's those ones that are coming down in October, although as I said, we don't have a definitive list, but naturally we're just delighted to it sickens me a bit that we still can't buy drugs at the same price as our Spanish counterparts can, and we have to stand behind the counter and try and explain that to our customers that come in, but prices coming down is all good, and as far as we can offer value, naturally that's what we're interested in doing.
And it's the government that sets the price of drugs, generic drugs as well, because they're the biggest customers, isn't that right?
That's
what we
correct.
said the last time.
That's correct. Yeah. They set the prices. So there's very little influence we can have on that. We're about the European average, but nevertheless, as I mentioned to you, we don't. Irish people tend not to holiday in Sweden, so because they're cheaper in Spain. That's what we all know. It's hard to stand over it, but unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Another change on the 1st of October.
Yeah, this is not a good one. From the 1st of October, there will be a 50-cent levy on all items dispensed on medical card prescriptions. So if you have a medical card, you will be charged 50 cents per item for all items. This is a government based tax, and we are, as pharmacists, are legally obliged to collect it.
So have you got all the information on that?
Again, we don't have all the information on that. Like we're told there will be a €10 family limit in any per calendar month, but we don't know how that is going to be operated. At the moment, we are going to have to collect 50 cents for every item dispensed, regardless of how many you get.
So let me give you an example, an extreme example, possibly, but still, a lot of people, when you count the numbers, it sounds like a small percentage, but a percentage of 1 million people becomes a large percentage. I have a friend whose son has Down syndrome. He has another degenerative disease as well. He requires injections every day. He has various devices, including he's peg fed all the time. I would imagine, looking at her house, she's about 17 different items that she has to go through every day. That's 30 days every month. That's on average 30 days every month. And she gets those from the pharmacist, including his feed, which is on prescription as well, that goes through the pump. Lovely little guy. His name is Jack. She 50 cent per item. She'll quickly get through in a couple of days. She'll already hit the €10 mark. And is that it after that?
Well, this presuming Jack, presuming Jack gets these items on the medical card.
Yeah, it is on the medical card.
Okay, well,
he's so extreme in his condition.
Well, if obviously 20 items in a month reaches obviously €10, and if they get 25 items, that'll cost them $12.50, and there will be some mechanism which we don't know yet for Jack to claim back his €2.50 excess.
So they'll have to pay it rather than just cap it.
That's right.
I'm confused, Paul. Now I've been reading this and I'm confused about it. You're saying that that mother who goes in to sort that out will have to pay over. So if say, I don't know, you'd probably know, if he's getting so many different things and it goes up to €20 or €25 on a monthly basis, based on somebody's income being very small as well, it's a lot of money. They'll actually have to pay you the 25, and then they'll have to get a receipt from you and claim it back, or some mechanism. It's a few days away, and you don't know what that mechanism is going to be. That's exactly what I was about to
say. I mean, I want to be clear about this. We have not been told yet by the HSE the mechanism by which people are going to have their expenses capped. But at the moment, I mean, as a result, I mean, if we were to cap, if they were to use the same pharmacy, bear in mind that they can use any number of pharmacies, so there's no way of correlating how much is spent between a number of pharmacies. But if they were to use, for argument's sake, the same pharmacy, there is technology there for the drug payment scheme that caps off your expenses at €120.
The drugs payment scheme. What's the limit on the drugs payment scheme?
At the moment, that's €120 per calendar month.
120 per family.
Per family.
So in my case, I've got myself, Linda, my partner Linda, wife Linda. I've got 3 children. And we're capped at 120. So it doesn't make sense to me that if Jack, they go in to get little Jack's prescription, that you have to start saying, well, actually, you know what, I've got this card system here, and I've got this technology here, and you can use that card in any pharmacy, and they're all linked, and we'll ring each other and look after it. But actually, I'm going to have to get you to pay me, and I'm going to have to give that money to the government. Then you're going to have to write a letter, a form, fill out another form while you're spending 23 hours a day looking after the child to get the money back.
For the moment, that appears to be the case. Now, as I said, we have not received all the information from the HSE, so we simply don't know. The background to this, is to prevent medicine wastage. All right,
sure.
Just to come back to.
I know, but is it really? I know sometimes there could be said that sometimes people on a medical card get more than they need, etc., etc., and there might be a tiny percentage overusing it. But really, 50 cents. People with medical cards, a bit sick. Do they really need the money? I know they need the money badly, but they're really hitting out on, the lowest of the low. To me, it's just a dreadful tax.
I would like to say that we as pharmacists are against it.
Okay.
All right. Because there is substantial evidence, apart from obviously forking out the practical element of having a cap and all that end of things. There is substantial evidence from sort of similar schemes abroad where you're charging people for their medicines, particularly disadvantaged patients, does lead to the reduction in taking medicines, which increases hospitalizations, and there's all sorts of knock-on effects.
People who really need it may not go and get it because they have this 50 cents.
Well, just for instance, the visit to the local GP is €60. I suffer from tonsillitis on a regular basis. I don't always go. I suffer through it rather than pay the €60, which is the wrong thing to do, but I can't afford it.
Well,
so
I mean,
if your income is low,
it's a bit more serious than that, Shay, as well. I mean, if you take somebody who is counting, and let's be clear about this, there are large numbers of people out there that aren't sitting behind a desk with the job in RTE. That's you, Shay.
No, look, I know how lucky I am. And we all know it's a regular conversation here. We all know we're lucky to have jobs.
But the problem, where the problems start arising is that if somebody has to make a choice, they're more likely to take, for instance, a painkiller than their cholesterol-lowering medicines. So you're going to wind up with heart complications because if you take a painkiller, your headache goes away, but you don't feel the benefits of taking your cholesterol medicine. So, these are the choices that people, make. And it's about, you mentioned, Brenda, overuse. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who take drugs from their medical card prescription because they're afraid they might get it next month, don't necessarily need it that month, and they get a build-up at home. I mean, it's where, if one of our customers, passes away and one of their loved ones or their carers, it's quite regular occurrence for a black sack of medicines to arrive back that, unfortunately.
And look, we all know the anecdotes of someone saying, my mother gets that, I'll get her to get that for you. I mean, I've heard that happen. But the other thing I want to say about this is the slippery slope. Next year it's going to be €1, and the following year.
That's a possibility.
There's a couple of texts in here. Sorry to interrupt you. The 50-cent charge will cost more to administer than they'll collect. That's from Gillian, and I absolutely agree with that. I pay $120 a month for one inhaler. Is it going to come down in the price from Caroline and Ringsend? That's the generic drug question. We'll cover that in a little. We'll just take a little break, and then we'll have to go to the Nocht.